What is up, everybody? Kalle Beck here from StartingStrongman.com, and I went and got a fresh haircut in anticipation just for this video, answering the big question: would Eddie Hall have won World's Strongest Man this year in 2018? So let's break it down. Before you all start typing and angrily going like this and saying everything you want to say, the way I'm going to break it down is I'm going to take Eddie Hall as if he's been training, if he's in 2017 shape when he won World's Strongest Man. Take Zydrunas Savickas out of the finals because he was pretty much hurt and only did half the event. So we'll just interject, look at the other scores, look at past scores that Eddie had in similar events, and some projection and just bullshit. It's all for fun. So, assuming he makes the finals, we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. The first event would be the frame carry, which is a 825-pound frame. They had to go back and forth. Very tough event. Only, 4 people finished it. Everyone tore their hands. They had the same event in 2016, and Eddie Hall got last. And I project him to get last again, because the person who got 9th this year was Belshak, and Belshak also got 9th to beat Eddie Hall that year. So in event 1, he would get 1 point. And then event 2, the car deadlift, I think Eddie Hall would win that. I think it's fair to say that he's a little shorter. He's has a 500 kilo deadlift. I think that event would suit him. We're saying a healthy Eddie Hall, everything, not ankle, hands, whatever else is going on. Trimmed down, ready to win Worlds. Eddie Hall. I think he wins the event. 13 points. The 13 reps, just enough. The problem is he'd be going first after the frame carry, so he'd have to go all out. So maybe even gets 14 or 15, just goes absolutely crazy. But gonna say, he wins the event. Bjornsson and Shaw tie with 12 again, and they would, instead of 8, they'd get 8.5 points. So he'd gain a couple points on them. So far, he has 11 points, and he'd be like mid-pack by here. Overhead barbell for reps. They had a max weight rising bar, with a traditional barbell, rogue bar, wagon wheels. They had to clean it. Pretty much, it went up to 190, and most everyone went out at that. 200, only Lises, Kielzikowski, and Bjornsson were successful, and then at 205, only Thor was successful. I'm going to say Hall hits 215 kilos for the overall event win, giving him 10 points, and Thor 9, gaining another point. So now, through 3 events, Hall has 21 points. Truck pull. This would be an interesting one. This would be very interesting. Looks like Shaw was a little off. Belshak went in between. I'm gonna say what I think best case scenario on this. I think Eddie Hall gets 3rd in the event, right above Belshak and Shaw, giving him 7 points. So we're at 28 points. Kielzikowski won it last year when Hall was in it. Still gonna say he wins it, so we'll give him a solid 3rd, going somewhere around 36.5, just right in there, close. The load medley. This is where it probably gets bad again. I think people discount how good Eddie is at carries and loads. He moves pretty well. People say he doesn't, but I think he does. Where I think the problem, we saw at Britain's Strongest Man, he won the event. Of course, that's against all the Brits. It's not against the top 10 in the world, but he still won in the event. He was better than all of them, and he moved pretty well. I think the problem we get to is that giant 330-pound sandbag. He's so big in the chest and the arms, and he doesn't have the big long arms like Shaw or You know, even Kiełzikowski, you know, he has the build to be able to pick stuff up like that very well. But we saw in the race with Shaw and Belshock where, you know, they were pretty much neck and neck, and, you know, the shorter, smaller Belshock was right in pace with Shaw until they got to that 330-pound sandbag, and it just took him too long to be able to grip it. If it was like a standard 275-pound sandbag, if it was, you know, the shorter kind of Ironman one, not this giant long Rogue one that was, you know, as tall as I am, I think someone like Eddie would do better in this event, but I think he's going to have the same kind of problem, and he'll keep pace up until that, and I think the safe might be a problem. So I'm going to say he gets right above Belshock, which would put him in, let's see, 10, 9, 8, 7 in the event, so another 3 points, so we're at what, 31? Something? I lost count, 28, 31, yeah, I think so. Atlas stones. Everyone looked a little off on Atlas stones this year, and it's hard to say. And it's hard to say how they did, because I think like the last run with Kiełzikowski and Thor, they knew that they didn't need to completely do that. They didn't need to do them all, so they didn't go all out. Johan Els ended up winning, loading all 5. Martins was in second. But I'm going to say it's a little closer race with you know, Eddie in the mix. Everyone goes all out, and I think you know, Eddie takes a solid third, maybe second, possibly winning the event. He's done it before in the event, but I'm going to say a solid third if everyone's going all out in this group, getting another 7 points, putting him at 38, 39 points or so is what I have. And if you look at the final results, of course we have to knock down, because I have him beating Brian in 3 events, because Shaw, he looked awful on the stones. You know, he has a couple injuries. So we have, you know, Eddie beat, Brian Shaw ended up in with 44 points. You know, Martins ended up with 38 and a half, but he also had that big mess up on the medley. He could have done well if he did better, but let's say, so Shaw ended up with 44. I have Eddie at like 38, 39. We knock him down 3 because he placed higher than him in those. So we'll say Shaw ends up with about 41. So at the end of the day, I think with these list of events, you know, a healthy Eddie Hall, peak Eddie Hall versus, you know, peak Kiełzikowski and Bjornsson, I think he gets 4th, right behind Shaw, but it could be right in there, maybe 3rd. But I don't think anyone was touching Thor on this day. He's improved. I think Eddie beating him for the first time ever in a contest last year really sparked, just lit a fire under his ass, and he trained harder than he ever would, and I just don't think he was touchable this year by just about anyone. Kiełzikowski, you know, he's just so great at the moving events. He's like the second coming of Marius, just taller and actually stronger. It's just a different era. Not to take anything away from the Beast winning last year. He won, and no one can ever take that away from you. He's a great athlete. Statically, like I said, I had him winning the 2 static events. He's, you know, at least at, you know, at his peak, is, you know, and still even now, just about as strong or stronger than anyone in the world. But through a whole strongman contest, and this is a very traditional looking strongman contest Worlds was, with, you know, a mix of speed, endurance, moving, special strength, you know, and static strength and everything else. I think, you know, I think he gets maybe on the podium, maybe right behind Brian, but let's say he ends up with 3rd place. All right, what do you think? You know, let me know in the comments. Let me know how you like my new haircut. Of course, you can follow me at LetKaleLift on all social media. Follow at Starting Strongman on social media. Go to startingstrongman.com for all of your latest strongman training articles and latest news. Go to store.startingstrongman.com for everything you need from strongman, from knee sleeves to wraps to blah, blah, blah. And including my book on how to train strongman in a regular gym. And hit subscribe and like and all those things. See ya.